Oh, yeah, it's Friday. And this is Metagame. No, I'm joking. This is powered by Metagame. Mic check 1 2. Yeah, we are Gucci. Nice. What up, my dude? Hope you're well, man. Happy Friday. Hope you had a great week.
What's up, Diamond?
Yo, what's good, bro?
Hey, was good.
What up, Bogey?
My guy, how you doing?
Chilling.
My
Want
bro.
to hear something cool about Time Ed?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I'm out in East Denver. We're we're going to side events after the main event. We're going to parties. We're hanging out at Pizza Dow's party. We're going to Avagachi's party, and here I'm riding with this dude I just met, and a couple other people are hopping on this ride too. And see this cool dude hop in with us. I'm like, okay, that dude seems cool. And basically, after we already hung out for like 2 parties in a row, couple rides here and there, I realized I'm hanging out with Tom Head.
That's funny as fuck, bro. I love moments like that.
Dude, it was like towards the end of the night, this dude is crushing it playing bowling at the Pins and Degens group with Token Smart.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just chilling, hanging out, and I see these people, celebrating. I'm like, dude, that dude killed everybody else, 146, and everybody else didn't even touch 100 points. Look at him. And I read his name. I'm like, Time Ed. That's the dude I've been hanging out with all night already.
At least you didn't have to find him. That's what's up, bro.
No.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's so sick, bro.
We was over there squeezing in the vehicles and everything. Like didn't even know nobody really.
Hmm.
Just all of a sudden, at the end, it's like, oh, okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, that was pretty good trip. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. You gonna go to NCon, Time Ed?
I don't know about that one. I'm trying to. I'm working on seeing what's going on with the NFT and at the LA thing.
NYC. Oh, LA. Gotcha.
LA and then New York, I think, something like that.
Okay.
Seeing
Cool.
who's on. Yeah.
Yeah, Third Planet Studios should be up there for NYC, NFT NYC. I have a hard time saying that.
Yeah, who is that supposed to be up there? You said.
Third Planet Studios. It's a good friends of ours. Planet Binks and Acapella. A few of these guys like Bogey and Co. help them out a lot as well. They're just good people. They're into music. They do a lot of metaverse shows as well as in real life shows and all that. Yeah, I can't believe we're like live right now and nobody's here. This is actually kind of odd. Yeah.
Everyone's still probably decompressing from East Denver.
That's what
Yeah, you're right. I am too, to be honest.
Yeah, that's last night I came out. I had a few things that happened. Really, when I came back to meet Denver, I went to this thing called Purpose with the Ion, I think his name is. Anyways,
Hmm.
yeah,
How was that?
it was all right. I got to be on stage for a minute and even talk about NFTs and music NFTs, and then I don't know if you know Doc Pieces, but she was there too. Talked about her, and then I forgot to bring up Latasha from the camp, basically who did the last performance for Eat Denver. I was talking about her, but I talked about her.
Yo,
Yeah.
she was off the chain, wasn't she?
Heck yeah, really. I enjoy it. I've seen her in person. I talked to her a little bit, you know. But yeah, yeah. I like the performance and everything. I enjoyed it. I lost my phone, matter of fact.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Damn.
but but somebody who actually stays in California. So yesterday I went to go I went to go pick up my phone from the person who was in Denver. Don't know him really, but they got my phone from lost and found out there at the castle.
Wow,
Sweet.
Yeah, and they
bro,
got it.
that's
Hell yeah.
mad.
Yeah, so that was pretty dope.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that was that her name, Natasha, the one with the blonde hair.
Yeah, yeah. The one performing.
Y'all, the last performer at the like finale wrap up event at East Denver was phenomenal. She was kind of like, I don't know, for me personally, like forget about people like Nicki Minaj, man. This woman's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, I enjoyed. She was on a panel like a while ago that I talked to her in L.A. about music and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But like to see how much she keeps on growing it's a blessing to watch.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, she looked comfortable on stage, had a lot of fun, jumped in the crowd a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, good.
good stuff.
What up, Bobcat?
Carella, nice to see you. Kyler, what's up?
What's up, guys?
Hellcat, welcome. What's up, DJ?
Hey
Yo, yo,
guys,
Are
thanks for
you?
I made it this time.
Happy Friday.
Happy
Hey,
Friday.
Jose. Happy Friday.
Happy
How it's going?
Happy Friday.
Going really well, my bro.
What's up, Katarina?
Hey everybody.
Yo, yo, yo. Hi, Katerina. Hi, Kyler. Carella, Rustin, Bobcat, Ahmed, Ko, Boogie, Musashi.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hello.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday to everyone in this VC. How's everyone's week's been today?
Been
We're
super
doing
busy.
we're doing
Woo!
great. Super busy sounds good. Or super busy good or not good?
Productive or
Um,
stressful?
Both.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I hope is that you are choosing your stress by yourself, you know? Like what we can do is to change some stressful situations for others. So better to choose the ones we choose, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, some of the stuff was, not really in my control, but I'm choosing to step up and be responsible for things, you know? So that's always a good choice.
We had a great week learning how to eat more healthy. We are eating a lot of really healthy food without salt or anything like. a great additions of flavor and tons of water. I feel really great. And today we are going to an ayahuasca ceremony later in the night. So I think it's going to be a great ceremony for me as I'm passing through all this cleansing with the food. I think it's going to be different too.
Always try, but I can't fish. I get the alternative because I'm allergic to fish.
It's good to hear you living a healthy life. It's a struggle out there trying to take away all your sugars and salts and flavors that kind of that we use. But yeah.
So true. Especially when they're
The most boring thing I think I ever did recently was to eat soup without salt at all. It was like vegetable tea.
there you go. Vegetable
Yeah,
broth and bone broth are the way to go.
yeah. You are what you eat.
That's right. Yeah, time man is especially difficult when they literally sit in a science lab to figure out how to make this stuff more addictive.
Man, I can't imagine the eureka on their faces when they figured out high fructose corn syrup.
They got really excited about that. Like put in everything.
Kind of scary.
Man, gotta love this suggestion. Hey, this UI isn't working for minting on mobile and my CPU crashed. Is there any way to work this from Etherscan? The answer is, how about getting a new laptop? Yeah, sure, I'll buy a new laptop for a free mint. That's worth it.
Some with that free mint kind of like took a left when it said buy a laptop.
Yeah, I don't know what world homie's living in, but it's not my world, that's for sure.
That free mint though.
That free mint though.
Like you don't give me 1,000 of them or something. Like I mean, like
Right.
$1 spend on my.
It's a free mint on ETH. It only costs $17 to mint your free mint.
Right. And this is a mint that I already paid for because I paid for the actual mint. This is supposed to be an airdrop. Like now you gotta buy a new laptop to get the airdrop.
Just be like, I'll give you a free mint if you give me a free laptop.
That should be my answer. Well, it is getting to about that time. And who do we have first? I believe we have Kyler first. Is that right? Kyler, can you speak in our town hall yet?
Yeah, I think so. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, sounds great. So
Great.
Kyler is from DRC. That's Dow Research. Is it Collective? Did I say
Sorry.
that right?
Yeah, Dow Research Collective. Thank you. I'll post a link to our site in the chat here if I have posting permissions.
Perfect. Let me make sure you do. And no, you don't yet. Let me give you a guest speaker role that should give you the permissions that you need. All right. Can you type in the chat now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. So Kyler's here from DRC. Kyler, I'll let you give us a little rundown on yourself. Who are you? Where you come from? Whatever you want to tell us about, and then give us the lowdown on DRC, because this sounds like something very cool that a lot of us have either started to work on or would have loved to see get launched.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, and thanks for having me today, guys. So So at the DAO Research Collective, we are a nonprofit research institute. We're directly funded by the Ethereum Foundation, Uniswap Compound, and Aave. And what we do is we're not a DAO ourselves because we tend to think of ourselves more as a SWAT team of like 25 research fellows from universities around the world. So we host events to identify problems in DAO functionalities, and then we take the information and data gathered by industry leaders and academic researchers at those events after identifying the problem, and we decide what to fund as far as research, academic level research into DAOs that we can then use to demonstrate the authenticity of the industry and the effectiveness of the industry while we directly interface with policymakers. So the hosting of events to identify problems, that typically happens for some reason on the West Coast at Stanford University. And then demonstrating the solutions to those problems typically happens on the East Coast. So next month, we're hosting an event at Harvard University. And we have 16 confirmed elected officials, so either representatives, senators, or their staffers, that will be appearing to interface directly with us. That includes GOP Majority Whip Tom Emmer, among others. Senator Auchincloss will be speaking on day 3. Even Elizabeth Warren is sending a staffer, so it's good that even our biggest haters are going to show up. So basically what we do is we fund and source academic research. We store it all with Creative Commons licenses for free on our website, which I posted in the chat. So if anyone has any questions about DAOs or needs to use any of our research to help build their DAO, we have Creative Commons licenses, so you can do that as long as you give us credit and make sure that whatever you're building is also open source and available to the public. But yeah, that's essentially us in a nutshell. And then as far as myself, I have a background in law. I'm actually going back to school to probably get my law degree, but I have a paralegal degree or an associate's degree in paralegal studies and a bachelor's degree in legal studies. I think I'll return and get my JD at law school. Haven't committed to that yet, but we'll see. And because of that, I just want to clarify that nothing that I say on here is legal or financial advice. I'm just a young kid trying to make it in this world, so please don't get me in trouble with the Bar Association.
Hey, random question. Are you part of LexDAO yet?
Yeah. So I'm actually a house leader at LexDAO. I'm also a major contributor to Lex Clinic, and I started a weekly crypto law newsletter called Around the Blockchain, which is written by myself and a team of 8 other law students. So if you're interested in that, I can post a link for that as well. It's just it's weekly crypto law. We use a Feedly AI to gather about 500 resources per week. We parse through that, cut it down to about 100. That's what we put in the letter. And then we use the rest of those resources, that data set, to train AI chatbots, like legal chatbots for ChatGPT. We do that through a company called Algovera that pays us in grants to conduct that research.
That's phenomenal.
Thank you. So yeah, that's a basic introduction to the DAO Research Collective and a small number of the projects I'm involved in. I think I'm at least a community member and probably 15 DAOs and a governance token holder and between 5 to 10. But yeah,
fit right in here.
Good. You guys are my type of people. I was at ETH Denver too. We gave a talk at Shelling Point. I did a couple of podcasts, but super stoked to be here and hear about what you guys are working on. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to help in any way that I can.
Super awesome. Should we take any questions now, or should we wait a little bit?
It's your community call, sir. You tell me.
All right. Well, does anybody have any questions for Tyler right now? Or Kyler, I'm sorry. We have Katerina writing. She might have a question.
Most surprising research finding. That's a great question.
Good question.
Okay, I think this is a fun one. So I just finished writing our overview on DAO governance. So at the DRC, we like to provide what we call overviews, or kind of like introductions to the various aspects of DAOs. They're on the front page of our website. This includes governance, treasury management, community, advocacy, employment, and I'm forgetting one or two, but we just completed our governance piece. I was lucky enough to be one of the 3 authors on that. We spent 6 months researching and writing it, and then another 2 months in review. So it had to pass through a gauntlet of essentially, I think all the reviewers were professors this time. So 15 professors from around the world, Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, all the places that are really intimidating. But a secret is that they're just normal people. So they're actually not that difficult to deal with if you treat them as such. But anyways, that was tangential. So we finished publishing our governance piece, and I performed an etymological trace of governance back to its root origins, which stem from Plato's The Republic. And he uses a term in that book to refer to the steering of ships, of naval vessels, and that term is kubernaion. And the interesting thing is that kubernaion split into 2 words about 2,300 years ago. And the 2 words it split into were kuberne, which is to steer, and that became govern, and then government and governance, which is what we use in DAOs now. But it also split into another word back then, which was called kybernen, and kybernen became cybernetics, or the study of systems. And for about 2,000 years, those words were pretty sufficiently separated. But now that we're entering into an era of cyber governance, the 2 words are kind of returning back to each other, like the prodigal son. So kybernen and kubernane split apart for about 2,000 years, cybernetics and governance, but now we have cyber governance, and I find it very poetic. So that's just a fun thing that we found researching. I'll probably end up writing a paper on that etymological coincidence. But
That's pretty awesome. Thanks for that. Thanks for that question. Does that entomology also line up with Kubernetes?
yeah, I just saw that in the chat. I'm not sure. It seems like it would. Kubernetes definitely seems more Greek than Latin. This is a Greek root. It was spelled with a K. So I think the original Greek to English transposing would be Kubernaein, Kubernane. But Kubernetes, that does seem like it would be accurate. And Katerina, I'll share the governance paper as well. Give me just 1 second.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So we've had a few people here in Metagame, as well as some guests come through that have been really interested in kind of revising the scientific publications. We have a lot of curation, which we love, but we have a lot of kind of gatekeeping as well in the standard scientific publication industry. And so I wondered, do you all have some good, obviously you have a good curation methods, which we want to keep those standards up. But do you also have any methods that kind of mitigate any of the old school gatekeeping that we used to have?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So as director of ops, I actually started at the DRC as my title was project coordinator. And essentially my entire job was to kind of reconcile the different beasts within the industry, which is, I think, is what you're describing. So there's the academic beast,
Totally.
which is typically, very bureaucratic, lots of red tape, lots of gatekeeping, and, a lot of smug, just kind of holier than thou behavior. And that's something that this industry, I think, does a really good job of letting go of and kind of restraining from. But in the academic world, even in crypto, it still exists very much so. So reconciling that with very talented people who are quote unquote degens, who typically wouldn't interface with a university and a university wouldn't interface with them. That was one of the biggest initial struggles. So like getting people like Josh Tan, who went to Oxford and Harvard, and now is at DAOstar and writes EIPs, getting him to work with Ross Campbell, who started Lex and Kali DAO with Jordan Teague, but who's definitely more on the degen side, Lex Punk Army type deal. Getting them to work together is an anecdotal example of, trying to reconcile these two kind of inherently different mindsets. But when you can get it to work, I feel like it has really meaningful results. So I definitely think it's worth the effort, but it is very difficult. And I would say, you asked if we do anything to mitigate that gatekeeping. We do to an extent, but because we're interfacing directly with policymakers who are literally going to decide whether crypto can survive in this country or if we all need to move to Lisbon, we do partake in some gatekeeping ourselves. And I think it's an unfortunate reality, but there are just people that you have to say no to. There are varying degrees to the quality of research that can be conducted, and we want to provide the very, very best for our purposes. I don't think that's how every DAO should function, and it definitely does cost us because we don't have any focus on a community aspect at all, really. We don't have a Discord. It's something that I'm advocating for. I would love to install mechanisms so that our community, we do have a large following, and I would like those followers to be able to interface directly with, with myself, with Connor, the founder, or with any of the research fellows that we have, so that they can ask their questions in a more direct way. But time is limited, and money is limited as well. So we have to be careful how we spend our time and how we spend our money. And we do feel it's beneficial for us to gatekeep and ensure that, although it is kind of snide and holier than thou, we just need to be very careful at this crucial point in time for the crypto industry. So unfortunately, we are kind of the bad guys here at certain points.
Well, in ways, you're the good guys too, because we recognize that there's a certain amount of gatekeeping that we all do in one way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And it's just the crucial part is, how much do we gatekeep, or how do we gatekeep? Like when it comes to listing documents, depending on what platform you might be, maybe your curation is really strict because you are actually giving legal advice, or maybe it's not so strict and you want to leave.
I just want to clarify, we're not giving legal advice.
No. Your platform is not, absolutely. But I'm saying any random publication, maybe they might need tight regulation because this, imaginary platform I'm talking about does give legal advice. Or maybe they're a platform that wants to curate for the safety of their audience, no malicious type of stuff, but they also don't want to act like a like a gatekeeper who says, no, you can't even find this knowledge. No, we'll allow you to see everything that we came across, but we'll mark the things that we think are nefarious, or we'll mark the things that we give our own personal check mark to, like, hey, this is good stuff. So yeah, that it's necessary to gatekeep. It's how you gatekeep, and maybe the ways that you gatekeep that makes it fair or not.
Yes.
Is there anything you can share on your gatekeeping processes that can help us to understand how you kind of try to keep that balance?
Yeah, totally. So as far as like posting on our website, which is our free library of resources, we try to be very lenient and permissive as far as what can get on there, and that typically, so that has to pass my desk, probably second up the ladder. So we have a person who will initially review a piece and say, like, hey, does this look like it was written by an AI? Does this look like it was thoroughly researched? Does this look like something that would be valuable to the DAO community at large? If that's the case, then, which I think is a pretty low standard, we're definitely willing to not necessarily promote, but to feature that article or blog or research paper, whatever it might be, on our website, which is, we think, very searchable and easy to find things. But I do deal with gatekeeping in a number of other organizations that I feel would be more applicable to what you're asking about. So I am an editor for Content Guild, which is the marketing arm for TallyDAO, which they built Open Zeppelin Governor. They helped build Snapshot. But now they're moving past the Snapshot multi-sig phase of DAOs into fully on-chain governance and no-code tooling, which is pretty cool stuff if you guys aren't aware of what's going on over there. But as an editor for their marketing arm, which essentially just curates and publishes news, we have a much lower onboarding and gatekeeping process there, which I think is a lot of fun. Like, that DAO to me is a lot more fun than what we do at the DAO Research Collective. But the DAO Research Collective is just performing some very important work as far as, just getting the senators and congressmen to show up and listen to us is super important, because we haven't had that type of direct interface in a meaningful way in a while.
Yeah, when you mentioned that kind of blew my mind. That's huge that you all are not only getting the ears of, but actually getting some of these people to show up in conversations and offer their input and things like that. That's what we need.
We're very excited about it, and we're extremely honored to be able to shoulder a portion of the load for the industry.
Definitely, and that says, it speaks a lot to the caliber of the platform that you're building here, the caliber of the people involved, and obviously they're giving you the recognition that, hey, what you're doing looks like you're doing it right in a legal sense, and maybe they're realizing that people like you, projects like yours, are needed for kind of what the less nefarious actors in our government would like to continue moving forward on, being able to have that connection and that kind of that vocal piece to have a direct connection between the communities that they're representing and the laws that they're dealing with and even creating sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you so much for the kind words. I think it's important to remember that, like, even though we're kind of doing the buttoned up thing now, we want to do this for the good of the industry. We want to do this for the good of everyone. And so I think it's a fun way to think about it is, like, if you were having a sleepover with your friends, or if you wanted to have a sleepover with your friends when you were a kid, and you had to go ask your mom, like, you would clean yourself up a little bit, maybe tuck your shirt in or do something, just to say, like, hey, I'm making some efforts on my end to be more amenable to you and to show you what you want to see, kind of LARP, that good child, can I have a sleepover role. That's kind of what we're doing at the Dow Research Collective. We put on our dress pants and our nice shirt so that the politicians think that, you know, we're one of them. It's our olive branch to them, to kind of do things in a more buttoned up, cleaned up fashion, typical peer review process, you know, spending months on these papers instead of just a few weeks. It's all semantics in the end, and it's all appearance in the end, but this is how you get these people to interface with you. So we're kind of LARPing it out.
And sometimes that is kind of what you have to do. You know, appearances make a difference. It lets you know, and not always physical appearances, but general appearances. It lets people know, hey, this is what I'm trying to do here. And sometimes that's taking a step, maybe a little bit out of your own comfort zone and a little bit closer to the party you're trying to engage with, saying, hey, we're making steps closer to you so that you can maybe make a few steps closer to us and we can work together on this.
Right. For the computer science people in here, we want to imitate modular and composable contracts. So as people, we want to be able to adjust and modulate to the crowd that we're speaking to. And that's why we do our overviews. We have, like, if you look on the governance page, we have the basic governance overview, which I posted. That's a great intro piece. It's like a 30,000 foot view. It tells you about the different types of voting methods you might see, how initial token distributions can affect progressive decentralization. It's like an introductory piece, but then you can go into the search bar and find things like connecting cybernetic models to governance models by Kelsey Nabin and Michael Zargum. And, you know, things that they have, you know, it's like 4 PhDs writing a paper together. And I think it would take a PhD just to read it. So there are like some extremely deep cuts like that. And then, and obviously you don't actually need a PhD to read that. Like everyone here is capable of reading that stuff. It was just a joke. But, you know, there are some extremely deep, like microscopic lens views of things. And then there are some 30,000 overview things. But it's important to be able to modulate to your various audiences, right? We have a degen audience. We have a political audience. We have a academic audience. We have a computer science audience. We have a community audience. And being able to adjust your voice when you're speaking to them, I don't think that's capitulating or anything like that. I think that's having the wisdom to know, like, if you have 3 children, you can't communicate with all 3 of them the same way. They need different things in their lives. They need to be told different things to be happy. They need to be shown different things. And that's just how I approach business and marketing.
Well, I have to say, coming from a counseling and psychology background, this is called mirroring. And it's actually a form of, you know, flattery. You know, you're trying to connect with your audience, and that has a great deal to do with, you know, everything from what I get up and put on in the morning to how I speak to that person. Even a part of mirroring can be, you know, you cross your arms, I cross my arms. You know, we kind of mirror each other's actual actions, like a monkey see, monkey do thing. But it's kind of saying, hey, I'm with you. I feel you. And you can, that's what happens when we talk to each other and we kind of even pick up each other's accents. Like I don't normally speak with this accent, but when I talk to this person, I do a little bit. It's weird. But that's actually this is human nature. This is us saying, you know, I'm connecting with you. I feel more a part of you, and it like physically happens. And so to be able to, as a writer, especially be able to change your voice according to your audience is crucial. It is the way that you're able to reach larger audiences and get the same concept put across to different people. I love that you mentioned that. I want to just mention what Katarina put in the chat. She said, I was in 10 plus years in academia and still teach a course every year. So much of what you say sounds familiar. I left the full-time research position 2 years ago because I just had enough. So might not have a new recruit for you if Katarina's not burnt out.
Perfect. Yeah, if you've recovered, if 2 years was enough for you to recover, can't blame you for getting burnt out. It is a very stressful industry. The standards are extremely high. But yeah, dude, that was so well put. Thank you for saying all of that. It's really cool to get the psychological background. I definitely don't think closely enough about it as often as I should, but yeah, very well put.
Does anyone else have any questions for Kyler? Good to see Tim Finney in here. That's another Lexdow member there.
Yeah. Hey, Ten Finney. We know each other.
Hey, Kyler. Yeah, I think we were even talking about you today. Fortunato, Anthony, talking about marketing and comms and what you do with ATBC. So what I like about DAOs, the metagame and the other ones that I'm in is we're now starting to see some synergies where we can start to utilize sort of the resources and the abilities of different DAOs. Like I always say, metagame has a very specific purpose for me because it's kind of unlike that sort of tech, community, algorithmic rewards. I want to experience that. But over on Lexdow, it was like this whole other sort of vibe and purpose and the law and everything. But I knew the transition between the two was going to be super essential at some point. And I do believe it's now starting because I start to see Lexdow members popping in here from time to time. I've even seen some coming in and contributing. And once those sort of threads become stronger, this whole ecosystem will become stronger. And what people hated about lawyers 4 years ago and 3 years ago, they're at least warming up to knowing that the law is important in our society. They might still hate lawyers, but at least the lawyers understand kind of how that system works. And it doesn't make us all capitulate to that system. It just makes us understand how it works. And in the most part, trying to navigate around it, not in an illegal sense, but to how to use it to your benefit. And when I see metagame, I would hope that metagame would want to sort of solidify the operation in a sense that makes sense for the metagame participants, which is really cool to have the scoreboard and XP and everything like that. But if it could just be kind of like put into a proper light, it might actually get the thing that it needed, which was people that can come in and legitimately stay and not come in and go and not get what they thought that they were getting and feel that, it's like all that shit. So if we can just kind of like keep that connection going, I think that we're going to make a lot of strides through 2023, 2024. So thanks, Kyler, for coming, and Musashi, as always, thanks for like keeping this thing going.
Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah. Just to iterate off of what Ten Finney is saying, Lexdow is doing so many cool things, and it is really cool to start seeing the members proliferate out into various other routes within the community. So always love seeing Lexdow members in the wild. Had the opportunity to see a bunch of people at Denver, so that was really cool. But yeah, we're doing a lot of cool things at Lex and with Around the Blockchain. That's the newsletter that I mentioned earlier. We also brought in Latoshi, or actually, I don't think he wants to be doxxed, so I won't say his name, but he's general counsel for a major L1, and he also creates the Codex, which is a litigation tracker, and essentially a treatise of what's going on in the crypto world as far as case law and precedent, and legislation. So he does that for free. So I always want to give him a shout out and promote him when I can. It's called the Codex. It's spelled COD3X .com, I hope. .something.
Sounds cool. All right. I think that pretty much wraps it up for our first guest. Anybody has any additional questions, welcome to drop them in the town hall. And thank you, Kyler, not only for coming here and presenting, but for all the work that you're doing. Much needed. Much appreciated.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
And up next, we have Chris Carella from Charmverse. Chris, how are you doing?
Hey, good. What's up, everyone?
Awesome.
I'll just give like the shortest of short intros here.
Yeah, give us a short
I'm
intro of yourself first.
Yeah, cool. So
For
I'm the
sure.
head of product of Charmverse. Charmverse is a Web3 community platform for managing members, coordinating tasks, facilitating decisions, and holding each other accountable. It looks a lot like Notion, so a lot of people call it like a Web3 Notion. And so it has that sort of document model of Notions. If you use Notion, you would be familiar with Charmverse. It also has Web3 capabilities, and so you can log in with your wallet. You can token gate the space. We have proposals and bounties. There's a member directory, so you can know who the other members of your DAO are, and the forum. And so that's some of my day job. The the stuff I do at night is I'm also very involved in the Farcaster ecosystem and started a Nowish DAO called Purple, which I'd be happy to talk about. And I'm a delegate for 2 nouns and just generally just very involved in the nouns ecosystem. So that's my brief intro, and I'd be happy to take this conversation in any of those directions.
Sweet. We might hit you up about nouns later.
Oh, cool.
I really like Charmverse.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
I do
there's
see
quite a few of us in here that have toyed around with it a bit.
Well, cool. If you guys just just reach out to me if you guys ever have any questions or want me to screen share and run you through anything. I do see there's a question about Purple in the chat, and so let me talk about that. So first, Purple is a Farcaster ecosystem DAO, and so let me go back to what is Farcaster. For those who are unfamiliar, Farcaster is a decentralized social network. It's actually a decentralized social network protocol, and the first kind of first party app on it is called Warpcaster, which looks and feels a lot like Twitter. And so this sort of decentralized Twitter right now, but there's actually a protocol that sort of any kind of social app can be built on top of. It has a really great. There's only about 10,000 people. So it's been private invite. They've been very deliberate about the people who they invite. When you're there, it feels like maybe the best of crypto Twitter, where people aren't really dunking on each other or aren't saying like when moon or when utility. It's just more of like a very high level intellectual conversation about crypto. Of course, other people have other interests there too, but they've done a really good job of curating kind of this Ethereum/crypto lover community that just takes the conversation very elevated. So that being Farcaster, when I joined Farcaster, I was a pretty early user. It reminded me a lot of early Twitter, where lots of developers were building all this cool stuff on it. And so even though I'm like user 400, there was already so much stuff built on top of the protocol that wasn't in the main client. Things like stats or a search utility, or there's just all kinds of little hacks and cool things like a Raycast plugin. And that's only really possible because it's an open protocol, so anyone can permissionlessly build whatever they want on it. Twitter once used to have an API, but obviously that's famously gone now. So I, as a user of Farcaster, had sort of suggested like, hey, let's create a Nowish DAO and use those funds to fund all these developers who are just doing this for the love of Farcaster right now. And so we built Purple, and we were the first DAO to launch on nouns.build, which is just a tool that allows anyone to launch their own Nowish DAO. And that's what we've been doing. We've been going for since October. Our current treasury is in the 40 to 50 ETH range. We've retroactively funded builders in the Farcaster ecosystem. We have a bug bounty where we pay people to fix protocol bugs. We threw a party in East Denver for the Farcaster community that had about 400 people show up. So we've been pretty active, and now the DAO is about 100 plus members. It's we can talk about what a Namish DAO is if we want to go there. But yeah, this is just kind of a very on-chain Namish DAO where we make proposals to unlock the treasury. And for Purple, those proposals all have to in some way support the Farcaster protocol. Okay, cool. There is a couple of you guys are on Farcaster. That's really great. So Farcaster was created totally permissionlessly. I didn't even talk to Dan from Farcaster. So Purple is a totally independent thing from the company that is building Warpcaster and building the protocol. The company is called Merkle Manufactory. And we're just kind of funding, we think of ourselves as like a public goods DAO, and we're just kind of funding all of the activity around it. They don't fund things. And so maybe in comparison to Lens, where Lens actually uses a lot of their money to fund artists and all kinds of stuff, Farcaster doesn't do that. And so just as kind of a group of engaged members of the Farcaster community, we started our own DAO and we're funding that stuff.
Awesome. Sounds like a fun and engaged community. That's pretty awesome. You had such a huge turnout at your event, and it sounds like at least one of our members showed up too.
Yeah, amazing. The Farcaster community is it's just super tight, and I think about we had like 4% of the protocol users were at ETH Denver. No, we're at our party actually. I think there were Farcaster being a network of about 10,000 people. I think 1,000 Farcasters were at ETH Denver. So
That's
maybe 10% of the whole
huge.
protocol was there. Yeah, and a lot of them were at our party. It was good times.
That's very cool to have such an active and physically active community. That many people willing to come out to a conference and meet up together that's powerful. That's
yeah,
awesome
and
to hear.
one of my learnings there, because I'm very much like a pro remote work, never really want to leave Miami because the weather's perfect here all the time. And Charmverse is a completely remote company, so I work remote and do my DAO stuff remote. And in the DAO world, you work with some anons or pseudos and stuff, and I'm pro all of that stuff. And then there's a tremendous power of actually meeting up in person, which I have been discounting, I think, the last few years. But those 400 people, even though maybe 40 of them were members of Purple DAO, and so I met a lot of people face to face for the first time who were in our DAO, and it just forges definitely different kinds of connections, and ideas can just much easier to share ideas over a couple of drinks in a room than a lot of times over Discord or community call or something.
Yeah, I'm a metaverse builder because I believe in the connection, but nothing replaces in real life connection, which is why I push more for our communities to deploy in real life in hacker houses, convention centers, and even buying up homes and homesteads for providing our own essential needs.
Yeah, amazing. My other local experience is I'm a member of Friends of Benefits, and the crew here in Friends of Benefit members who happen to be in Miami, we meet pretty regularly, and we've all become pretty good friends. And we have an art show this weekend that a bunch of us are in. And the local team now is way more important to me than the main DAO. It's kind of sort of interesting. Yeah, because they've become my actual friends rather than my internet friends.
Yeah, it's just a whole nother layer of connection that you get where, not just the congruence and likeness of minds and all that, but iron sharpens iron in so many different ways in person. Even our habits, our good and bad habits can rub off on each other. So, we can really help each other. We can also, hinder each other. So it's good to make sure that we present our best selves for each other and try to push each other forward, onward and upward.
Just a real quick question. I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, but the guy describing Purple and Farcaster. What is your founder's name at Charmverse? I think he came over to our hack house at Denver and he was there all night. I'm pretty sure we had a 2-3 hour discussion.
Alex is he told me that some of people in this room might know him actually from some East Denver stuff.
That's super cool. Who was that, Rostein?
No, that was me, Kyler. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Kyler. He told me that. He told
Awesome.
me he hung out with you. He actually told me he hung out with you. So I think you met him for sure.
Yeah, we played a couple hours of shuffleboard, just shooting the shit. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. Pretty small world, the Dallas space, I guess, and totally. I was also. I heard you guys talking at the top of the call about East Denver. I was there. I presented at Dow Denver. Yeah, just and then as a member of maybe one thing is interesting about nouns is there are now many different types of nounish DAOs. Purple from the outside, you wouldn't think at all it's connected to nouns. We don't use noggles. We don't have cute characters. We're not about proliferating the meme. We are a public goods ecosystem DAO. But we use the same 5 smart contracts they use, and we operate in the same way. But even Purple, it's like there are just so many connections, especially within Salad, the Nanoverse, where it's like, oh, you're a member of Little Down, and you're a member of NARS. I'm a member of both of them, so I now know both of you guys at East Denver. It's a pretty tight group of people in DAOs in 2023, I think.
Are you familiar with Nouns Builder at all?
Yeah, very, very familiar. I am a member of Builder DAO, and I was the first one to launch Purple was the first. I launched the Purple smart contract. I was the first one to do that on nouns.build. Not that I think that is in any way sort of like in any way an accomplishment. I just got lucky that Zora was into what we were doing with Purple, and they let me know it was live right away. But I encountered a lot of bugs with that very first version, which they fixed in the first couple of days, and just really learned a lot about the whole process, what it all means, everything from founder allocation to vetoes. I would say like I've been involved in nouns since Noun 1 via Shark DAO. Shark DAO is a partial ownership of a noun kind of DAO. And so I've been really following nouns the whole way. I understand the whole structure, but then it's like when you launch your own, you learn it at like a much deeper level.
Right.
And so if you have questions about nouns build, I'm probably the person to ask.
Yeah, I might. It's actually kind of serendipitous. So myself and David Kerr are handling wrapping Builder in a UNA, unincorporated nonprofit association.
So cool.
Yesterday I became an admin for Builder.
Amazing. Cool. Yeah, totally. But I wrote on that proposal.
I definitely do have a bit to learn about that. I kind of, I'm not really, as a student in the space on the legal side, I'm not allowed to say no to David Kerr, who's like, the premier legal researcher in the space. So I didn't really have a voice in the matter, so I have some catching up to do, but very cool.
Amazing. Cool. Thanks.
I love all the connections that have been made during these conferences like ETH Denver. Seems Time was out there too. You all may have had conversations with him as well. He was one of the best dressed members at the convention.
Amazing. I am just coming up on the top of the hour here. I'm a little short on time, but I would love if there are any more questions or people can always reach me on Farcaster or on Twitter or I'm in the Discord now, so you can just hit me up here too.
Yeah, we are actually at the top of the hour anyhow, and I think you'll probably be hearing from some of our members. One of our biggest proponents of Charmverse, I'm sad to say, was not able to make it today, who is usually at all of our calls too, Epyrion Creations or Change the Game, or you may know him as Zach. He was also at ETH Denver, but is a huge proponent of Charmverse, and anytime anyone is mentioning using any platform for community engagement, for team work, for all sorts of stuff, he will also always mention Charmverse first. We really appreciate his keeping everyone up to date, because I was an early tester and I was like, yeah, it's great, but I'm missing some things. I'll come to it some other time or whatever. But Ape always brought me back in and said, hey, no, they've updated it. Check it out. And every time I check it out, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
awesome.
wow.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's definitely come a long way, just even in the last 6 months or so. So if you haven't seen it in a while, it'd be worth coming and checking it out.
Definitely. Everyone check out Charmverse if you have the opportunity. It's just an awesome platform, and they obviously, team's very active, adding integrations and all sorts of additional features all the time. Carella, thank you so much for presenting today. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for what you're building. Thanks for making the connections in real life and really like making it all happen with good values. That seems to be what's almost most important for us Octos here, is that we want you to be a badass developer. We want you to build amazing things, but we almost don't care if your heart isn't in the right place. And it seems like yours is.
Yeah, right on, man. And thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, and that pretty much wraps up our community call. And thanks everybody for coming out. We know some are still kind of coming back, getting back on schedule, maybe still doing laundry.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a great weekend.
Nice avatar.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I'm gonna see you
Oh,
shaking
yeah.
Tom. That's what's up, though.
Thanks, man. You can see me running around in the Hyperfly world called the game. That's all I can say, because it's not finished yet.
Alpha.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yo, is Jose still here? Yes, Jose's still here. Are you playing? You gonna close us out, my bro?
Ooh.
It sounds like Snoop Dogg, right?
Na. It's that my rib.
Na.
Metagamers.
Now we are going to play the artisan today.
Can you play Fuck Bitcoin?
Fuck Bitcoin. No, I don't know.
Do you know that song?
No, I don't know. But you should share it over Metasquare to check on that.
But you should share smart contract.
Yeah, what I have is a smart contract. That can be a trade if you feel.
Have you ever heard the ERC20 song?
What did you say? Oh. It dipped too low.
De mi corazón, indícame mi caminar, no importa el punto cardinal, hay tanto que quiero mirar, de este a oeste que montar.
Ay, brújula, brújula de mi corazón. No es cuestión de dirección. Enséñame mi caminar. Ay, brújula, brújula. Y ella respondió. No te tomes nada personal. Nadie a ti te quiere lastimar. Todo el sufrimiento es opcional. El aprendizaje quedará. Honra tus palabras al hablar. Sé coherente con cómo te expresas. La autenticidad es prioridad. Tu valor no se expresa en moneda. No supongas sobre los demás. Una duda te puede acabar. Pon tus ojos a observarte a ti. Mira cómo puedes mejorar. Pa' que hagas siempre voluntad. Trae aquí a tu mejor versión. Si te esfuerzas en el porvenir, el nuevo sol renovará tu alma. Oh,
Woo! That was awesome, bro.
Beautiful.
mirar con ojos de artesano, sí, sería lo que me haría un poeta, diferente a lo mortal. Sería un amor tan bonito. Sería un amor distinto a lo que se puede tocar. Sabría que es amor porque es incondicional, repitiendo los hechizos de tu boca escupe fuego. Sabría que es amor porque busques integrar, evocaría el sentimiento de la unión y de los sueños. Sabría que le estoy hablando al amor porque me estoy hablando a mí para conectar contigo desde la fuerza de un latir con dirección y sentido. Me escucharías hasta el silencio sordido de los caminos eternos, sí. Sabrías que los momentos pesados a voluntad se hacen ligeros. Como artesano me toca sudar, me toca romper, me toca quemar. Como artesano me toca curar, me toca toser, me toca sangrar. Como artesano me toca oler, me toca beber, me toca curar. Como artesano me toca entrever entre los dos planos de la realidad. Como artesano me toca sudar, me toca vender, me toca quemar. Como artesano me toca curar, me toca toser, me toca sangrar. Como artesano me toca doler, me toca beber, me toca curar. Como artesano me toca entrever entre los dos planos de la realidad.
Woo, woo, woo.
Beautiful as always.
Happy to share the vibe. We are just gonna get some food.
Yeah. Get that
Happy
medicine.
Friday, everyone.
You all have a great day. I'm gonna hop off.
Yeah, bro, Musashi, take care, bro. Hope you're feeling better, man. And hope
Hey,
everyone else
thank
has a
you.
great weekend. You're welcome.
You too.
Take care.
What?
Remember, Nova loves you.
Nova loves you.
Nova loves you. Take it easy, guys. Toodaloo.